Um, Donald Trump, he always has had a false start. And does all this mean that Trump has finally smoothed out his rough edges? Well, I doubt that. Donald Trump announced his 2024 his squatter campaign over 3 months ago. The lackluster announcement kickoff event was held at his Mar-a-Lago beach club in front of a small crowd of people, many of whom were reportedly trying to get out of the room halfway through his Klan speech, but security refused to allow it. Now, some of his most loyal inbred sycophants didn't attend at all, notably including his ugly-ass kids, Don Jr. and Ivanka, while the networks, including Poe, cut away partway through his rambling of low energy spiel. Everyone agreed that his announcement didn't come close to the bedazzled golden escalator pageant of 2016. So what is so was that the best the great political impresario could do these days? And I don't even consider him political because he's not really political at all. At the very least, it seemed quite clear that he was out of practice. The 2 years he'd spent ruminating over the big lie and attempting to play kingmaker from afar had left him rusty. People were blaming the defeat of the midterms on his endorsements of election denier maggot candidates, and the whispers of loser, loser, loser were getting louder. And of course, Trump is a loser. It almost seemed as if he was depressed, something I don't think anyone has ever seen before. We had assumed that in order to get his energy up, he would jump right into his Klan rallies that he loved holding. He'd done a few during the midterm campaign for his endorsees, but they seemed a bit desultory as well. He never does well when he's forced to talk up someone other than himself, but he hasn't done any since his announcement, and instead he's been holding smaller events in early states like New Hampshire and South Carolina, and appearing as he did this week at the site of the toxic train derailment in Ohio for a photo op. And Trump didn't care about the train derailment because basically his shitty policies on the train derail on the train stuff was a failure anyway. It's almost as if he's running a regular old squatter campaign. Is Donald Trump actually doing something different this time? Well, other than committing crimes, I doubt that. And for quite a while, he's been putting out videos announcing his various policies for an agenda that Niall Stanage of the Hill reported he cleverly plans to call Agenda 47. Since yes, Trump would be the 45th squatter and the 47th if he were to win another term, which is never going to happen. These videos are typical Trumpian bombast, and not unlike the announcements he would make in the 2016 campaign, when he would call a press conference to announce, for instance, that he was calling for a total and complete shutdown of the Muslims entering the United States until we can figure out what the fuck is going on. And here's an excerpt of one in which he's discussing education policy, evidently intent upon one-upping Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. That's reminiscent of Trump's famous Central Park 5 full-page ad in which he called for the death penalty and more policing in the arrest of 5 young men who later turned out to be innocent of that rape. He's made it clear that one of his top issues is going to be crime and punishment, which is kind of funny because Trump doesn't follow any of that shit when it comes to that, with calls for an expansion of the death penalty to include drug dealers and the use of the federal government and all manner of issues that are actually under state and local jurisdiction. So if you try to give the death penalty to the drug dealers, how is Trump and his ugly ass son gonna get their coke? He's also put out videos promising radical energy and immigration policies. Which is kind of funny because he's married to an immigrant anyway. And he has taken up the hot few cases of banning ESG investing, which stands for investing, which takes into account environmental, social, and governance concerns. And none of them are what you would call a real agenda or a plan. They are more like threats. But it's interesting that he's doing this at all. He's rolling out an agenda in a formal format and putting the videos on his website and his social media platform, Fraud Social. It remains to be seen if he's going to start using Facebook and Twitter again now that his ban has been lifted. But unless he does, these pronouncements aren't going to get wide circulation. You have to wonder why they haven't done that yet. His forays to the New Hampshire and South Carolina couldn't have been more conventional. He gave speeches to smaller crowds and hobnobbed with local endorsees. In last week's trip to Palestine, Ohio, or Palestine, Ohio, whatever you want to fucking call it, was downright homespun, which is not Trump's usual style at all. He always thought that these personal interactions with the voters were beneath him, and recall what he said back in the 2016 campaign. Don't forget that when I ran in the primaries, when I was in the primaries, everyone says that you can't do that in New Hampshire. You can't do this. You have to go and meet you have to go and meet little groups. You have to see because he claimed that he had huge Klan rallies, which really wasn't. And they said, oh, wait a minute, Trump can never make it because that's not the way you do it in New Hampshire. You have to go to people's living rooms, have dinner, have tea, and have a good time. I think if they ever saw me sitting in their living room, they would lose total respect for me. Well, nobody really had any respect for you anyway. That's vintage squatter Trump. He truly believes that people wouldn't respect him if he was a regular guy, even though he loves a Big Mac and fries just like they do. But in Ohio last week, while Trump didn't appear in anyone's living room, he did do the thing that he always does. What did he do? He went to McDonald's. That's Trump's way of saying that he's one of them. Trump Jr., his son, went out of his way to claim that no one probably eats more per capita than Donald Trump, and it was nice seeing his father just sitting there at a McDonald's, not really. And basically, Trump Jr.'s fiance, Kimberly Guilfoyle, who's another fucking retarded idiot, weighed in on the former squatter's authentic eating habits as well, rattling off everything he likes to eat at McDonald's, of course, including, of course, fries. But there was no more ecstatic there was no more an ecstatic sycophant than faux celebrity, the faux celebrity, the racist piece of shit Tucker Carlson. It's real, says Carlson. Sure it is, but Trump often pops up by the local McDonald's and orders himself, and you know how he always buys a round of cheeseburgers for the house? Yeah, just for himself. According to The Hill, many of his advisors and sycophants are thrilled that he's being more low-key and running a more conventional campaign, at least by what they claim Trump standards, which I don't even know what the fuck you would consider a Trump standard, other than him being a racist piece of shit. He spoke behind the lectern and used some big words when he spoke about the train derailment, which he guessed shows that he evolved. But Trump was responsible for that derailment anyway by rolling back regulations on the train stuff. So does all this mean that Trump has finally smoothed out all his rough edges and is going to run a regular run-of-the-mill campaign against Ron DeSantis and the gang? Not bloody fucking likely. He posted a viewership report on Fraud Social allegedly proving that 178 million people watched his little Ohio visit, no, they didn't. Which is so absurd, it's a fucking joke. He's obviously dying to get back to his big Klan rallies, so I wouldn't count on any more of these more intimate settings. They're just too small for that colossal ego of his. So yeah, if you like the video, you can get the video, like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. You could go ahead, leave a comment, let me know what you think. And if you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube. And for just a little as a few bucks a video or a month, your donation can help go a long way, and thanks for listening.